All right, I'm happy to be with Tiger Watson today. He's one of the senior backend engineers at GitLab, and this is sort of an intro video on setting up a GDK on your local machine to help with your development work. And Tiger is also one of the maintainers for GitLab Development Kit, so we have a perfect person to sort of lead the session. Tiger, let me turn things over to you. You're already sharing your screen.
Sure, sounds good. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to look through the instructions for preparing a computer for a GDK install and installing the GDK itself and hopefully getting it running. So what we have here is the documentation for preparing your machine. There's lots of different architectures that we actually support. I'm going to be running on a Mac, so I'm going to run through the Mac instructions. There's plenty of other options here for different architectures that you can have a look at. The first thing for macOS you'll need is Ruby, and Ruby is listed up here. There are plenty of different Ruby version managers that you can use. I'm currently using RBM. I already have RBM installed, but it is installable via Brew. If you don't have Homebrew installed, it is listed here somewhere, I think. Yes, Homebrew is listed here, so you can do that. I think it's a very simple install. See, you'll see a bit more output here, but I already have RBM installed, so that's okay. And now I can say what I want to do is install the Ruby version that GitLab uses, which is currently 2.6.3. Again, this is going to tell me that I've already got it installed. Usually, this will take a while, and you'll download and install Ruby. Now we can install a bunch of these dependencies that the GitLab Development Kit requires. I, again, have all of these, but you could basically paste this entire block in, and it will install a bunch of things that we need. And that is actually all you need to do for macOS using Homebrew to set up the Development Kit. So I'm going to move over here to the next piece of documentation, which is actually getting the GDK running. And so we have a gem to install the Development Kit, and called GitLab Development Kit. Again, I have it installed, but we can paste it in anyway. Oop. Cool. And now we can start and we can initialize a new GDK directory. I already have one called the default directory, so I'm going to use this. Usually you could just run GDK init, but since I have one already, I'm going to do this one. I'm just going to use the default name here. Cool, and that has cloned into this repository the GitLab Development Kit. So I can now go into here using this command, and now I can simply run GDK install. And this is going to download a whole bunch of things that basically will do, it'll do an end-to-end setup of the GitLab Development Kit. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes, I think, so I won't wait for it. I've got one I've prepared earlier. But this will give you output that looks something like this. Here's the install command, and this is in a different directory I did earlier. We'll do a whole bunch of installing, and this will create your database, it will seed your database, and right down the bottom, eventually it will tell you the setup's been finished. It will give you a few commands to get GDK started and running and all that sort of stuff. And it will give you the default admin username and password. So assuming this is all run correctly for you, we can now go GDK start. And this is telling us it's starting up all the different subcomponents of the GDK. So we can see these are the various services that the GDK will use. You can start, if you look at some of these commands here, you can start and stop these independently. If you're only running tests, for example, you would only need Redis and Postgres. But once this has started up, it takes a while to actually get started. We can go to the default localhost default URL and port, which is localhost 3000. You'll see this error message while it's starting up. It usually takes a while. If you want to be informed of what's going on, you can use the GDK tail command. which is actually going to tail the logs for all of these different services. We can see everything's kind of starting up. When we see Rails web saying it's ready there, that means we can probably refresh this and it will actually load. Cool, and now we can go to we can use the default username and password, which was here with the root username and this password. And we should be able to sign in. Cool, and here we've got a bunch of default dummy project, seeded projects, and everything should work as expected. We can view these and start creating new projects and using the GDK.
Yeah, so when you first do the install, as long as you see the a setup finish message without any errors in the logs, I guess you can feel pretty confident that you're good to go, right?
Yes, if you get down to this point here where setup is finished and it's told you the commands, and you can also start these services here. It will say OK run for all these services. Then you should be good to go. Yes.
Cool. And once you started using the GDK for a while, then if you want to reinstall it for whatever reason, like if things started breaking, I guess you just sort of start this process again to reinstall GDK, or do you need to do it like an uninstall first and then start a clean install?
You shouldn't need to uninstall anything. We have a couple of other commands. There is the GDK update command, which is basically going to do a pull of all of the different projects that make up the GDK, and it will do things like running migrations for you and that sort of thing. So GDK update is all you should need to refresh your install.
Awesome.
And this is all happening very quickly because I've only just installed it.
Right. And I assume this will be similar across the different platforms, but what's the memory requirement for having a GDK on your Mac?
I don't know off the top of my head what it would be. It would probably be fairly intensive. There's quite a few things that are running. I don't want to put a number on it, but I wonder. I don't know if we have any recommendations for hardware. I'm not sure. It's fairly intensive.
Right. Yeah. So I assume if you only have a 4 gig, for example, you might be struggling a bit with the GDK. That's my
correct.
assumption.
I haven't tried it, but I don't think I'd recommend something quite that low.
Right.
And we're back here. Our update's finished, and we can restart to pick up all those updates.
Cool. Awesome. It will certainly make, once you have this up on your local system, it'll make development and testing a lot faster, for sure. Cool. Right, and then if people have any issues using GDK, I mean, I recommend opening new issues in the GitLab Development Kit project, or search for issues that may have been open already. But I think a lot of the GDK team members have been great about picking up issues and commenting on them. So it'd be the best path if people have any issues.
Yeah. It's quite active at the moment. We have quite a few issues, and we try and respond to them quite quickly. So feel free to raise an issue, or comment on one of the existing ones if that's also affecting you.
Right. Yeah. The other thing I would recommend is that if you run into any error messages, one recommendation I have on issues is if you put a copy of the logs in the issue, that's often very, very helpful in terms of debugging. Cool. Well, thanks, Tiger. Anything else? Or
I think that's all.
All right, cool. All right, thanks. This will be posted on the GDK channel very shortly. Thanks.
Thank you.